from all his training, sorry about the car noise, from all his training, and ultimately, on the day, he had to rely on trusting his focus. Not even being aware of trusting, just focusing.
So
Does
my
that make sense?
observation, yes, Allison, yes, Anne. My observation, is two things that you said were trusting your body because you have trained it. So the training is important to do, to have the skill to do the walking across the cable, across the gorge. If you're not trained, trusting your body may not serve you well because it's not trained to do that.
And in the meantime, to get that good, you've got to fail. You've got to fall off the bar.
Yes, and in the training, there can be, I don't know, boundaries, whatever word you want to use. Like, I'm thinking the gymnasts, they don't put them on the high bar till they learn the low bar, but I'm not a gymnast, so I'm just speculating that if you were practicing walking across a taped line without any opportunity to fail, and then you walk on a board that's flat, and then you raise it and you build that balance, that there's skills that can be done incrementally with safety in mind.
Yeah, you turn a 2x4 on its side, right? And walk on that first.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know. She's sounds okay. And
Yeah, it's just a matter of the distinction I was making with trust and skill can go together.
that's right.
They need, yeah.
They have to, and that we call that work. We call that career. We call that what we do in the marketplace. That's our value. And so, what are businesses today looking for? Creativity and innovation. But what has happened is we've stifled it for generations. Oh, and who has it? Oh, the young kids.
I was just going to say, there's loads of innovation in tech. But then the tech industry is not very well recognized for how it treats its employees.
Well, then when the capital got involved, you see when the capital gets involved, you see how they build in the boundaries.
Yes. Yes.
And the boundaries can be limitations to the creativity.
They always are, especially when they originally were created. The intention gets lost when the creators disappear.
Yeah.
And then we look for the patterns and say, oh, there's the pattern. It is this one pattern, without ever looking at it could be another pattern.
Yeah.
And that's the arrogance of conclusion versus the humility of confusion.
Arrogance, ignorance, blindness,
Assumptions.
unaware, assumptions, expectations, forecasts, projections, planning. Yeah, all of it necessary, but it doesn't have to be the first step. And the dream has to be the first step. And that's where we connect, is on the dream aspect. And then in the dream, then we build it up. The mission, the vision, they call all that, right? It's like, that's the direction. And as broad as we can start, we can always find common ground there.
Yeah, exactly.
And then it's just keeping direction back to that, just keeping attention and focus on it. And then noticing when you get out of bounds. So Jesus, not only is this changing in our lives, but imagine what it does in business and our work. Our communities. Yeah.
So how did Jesus teach? I mean, teach the disciples.
All in demonstration, all in show.
Yeah, demonstration and practice.
Well, also
he
story.
demonstrated a lot of things, and then he sent them out to do exactly the same things that he did.
Jenny, what did you say? Also in story.
Parables, yeah. Stories.
Parables. Exactly.
It does share, like, there's different ways we learn.
Yes.
Yes.
And it's like,
Mhm.
then it's like, oh, so if there's different ways, which means there's a degree, that means there's some that are more effective than others.
And that will always depend on the context too, does it not so?
That's right. It's like, it is why language is here.
Mm.
It's why we're able to say the word context and somewhat have an idea what you're talking about.
Mm. Mm.
Now we'll never know about the resistance, or we'll never know what color dress that is for you.
Mm.
But do you see that if I don't agree with you, you don't agree with me, we will not get along.
Or
That-
we appreciate what each sees.
There we go. That is the new, that is the new creator that sees that values that honors that. And imagine a society, businesses that did that.
Where there's not a desire to have agreement. Is that what you're saying?
No, it's like not if I mean, if agreement was the purpose, then that would be fine. But that's what we're doing now.
Hmm.
The intention is not to be agreeable. The intention is to create a passion, create a vision, imagine it, do it, fulfill it every time in the way that it is, and get people around you that are there to do it too.
But why do you have to create a passion?
Well, you don't.
You've why have one?
No, I didn't ask that. I said, why does it have to be created?
Well, then you can always ask the opposite question too, and it's the same answer.
Are we assuming that it isn't there, so it has to be created?
That's what I'm. I am not.
You see your assumption, Craig.
Because I came in with passion. That's innate. That's always been innate for me.
Great. So we are saying the same thing.
Is it created, or is it brought attention to?
Well, well, tell me the difference.
I have a question. Oh, go ahead. Tell the difference.
The difference is the need for an intention behind it.
Okay. Wonderful. Do you have, or do you discover, or do you create an intention?
You have it already.
Great.
And-
Does everyone?
Yeah, the 3 Gs.
Great. Great. So then everything's perfect.
Then we might.
It's just not brought into form. It's just not. It's
So
just
how
not.
do you bring something into form, Craig?
By tapping into what's already there and drawing it out.
Mm-hmm.
So-
And is that very different from what one does when one creates?
Sorry, what was the last?
Is
it different from what?
Is it very different from when we create? What you described, is that very different from what we've been doing on the call?
Yes, because creation matters on what the source of it is from.
I'm not following you. Sorry, you've lost me.
Well, there's a thing that basically basically is in authority for most of us, for most of our lives, and that's the self-consciousness.
And why would we not be using that on a call like this?
Well, it's not that whether we're using it or not. Is our self-consciousness the source of what we create, what we're trying to create? Or is our superconscious the source of what we're trying to create?
And that's why I asked the question, why would we not be doing exactly that on a call like this when we are conscious creators? I'm not saying that we are always able to be in alignment, but the intention certainly is on a call like this that we are in alignment.
I have a question.
Thanks, Jenny.
Craig, how do you distinguish whether it's the self-conscious creating? How did you make that assessment?
Same way you stay on the high wire.
I'm not following that.
It's a practice. Use muscle testing. You must, but is this a true intention?
And who's
As
true?
in universally true? Is this a true choice?
And who's making the assessment?
You are. You're making the assessment every day. Every choice you make.
And so, can I ask, Jenny?
Mm-hmm.
And so, who was making the assessment that by pointing to what we had been doing was creating? Oh God, somebody help me here.
From the self-conscious versus the superconscious?
Yeah, but it had to do, so I actually want to go right back to your first question, Craig, when you said, why does passion have to be created? And for me, that question held a charge for you. And of course, I can be 1,000% incorrect. And I really mean that. Really, really, really mean that.
So the follow-up was, Craig, you had indicated that you came in with your passion. And Jesse said, great. So what's the distinction that you see creating versus coming in with it innately?
The source of it.
But we all acknowledge
Is
the
it
source of it.
coming in? Is it coming in from the superconscious where it already exists? Or is it coming in from the self-conscious where it doesn't?
Okay, so Craig, you love this expression. You create heaven on earth.
Yep.
Great. What's the difference between that and what Jesse was talking about?
Misinterpretation.
And are you aware of where?
Yeah, because I wouldn't say it. I wouldn't say it that way.
Okay.
I would say that heaven on earth already exists, but it's obscured by self-consciousness, actually.
And for who is it obscured?
Obscured for all of humanity.
Is it obscured for you?
Less so every day.
Great. And so just with that, we can't say that it's for all of humanity.
Well, yes, we can,
Oh, okay.
because everything we do is on behalf of the collective.
I think you misheard what I said.
Okay, ask again, please.
So I was trying to follow logic. If you, and it's my logic, right? If you are experiencing more and more of heaven on earth, then you cannot say that self-conscious obliterates that for all of humanity.
Why not?
Okay, I'm sorry. I'm kind of done. I'm sorry, guys. I'm too impatient. I'm really sorry.
I love you, Allison.
It's very kind of you, Craig.
I think we lost Jesse.
I can't ask any more
Oh, there you go.
questions. Somebody else missed.
I'd like to just go back to how we create, and perhaps there's a distinction that I'm hearing anyway, and it's just my perception, so it could be wrong, that there's a conclusion I heard you say, Craig, that humanity, and I don't want to put, you can correct the words, is not experiencing heaven on earth because of what?
Because of consciousness mainly.
Okay, and so that is your observation and perception and your truth.
Yeah, you can call it that.
What of that is not?
So is there a better word?
Okay, let's put it on a spectrum. Let's put consciousness on the same spectrum
As
temperature.
great. And in temperature, we're going to use what?
Hot and cold.
Great. And so self-conscious, we're going to use what?
Self-conscious and superconscious.
Oh, well, they're the same then.
Yeah, they're both consciousness.
Okay. So we're looking at consciousness, not self-conscious then. We're looking at consciousness as self and as super. Yeah?
Yep.
Anything else to include in that?
Nope.
I have unconscious.
Would that be neutral?
No, hell no.
I see unconscious as automatic where we're not thinking.
Is unconscious part of consciousness?
Of course.
Oh,
Of course. Has
of
to be.
course.
I can use the word subconscious, but Chris doesn't like it, but that's
I would
that.
include that one. Yes, that would be included too under consciousness. Yes.
Yeah, it's all consciousness. And then there's infinite consciousness.
What would be that? I don't know what
super
that is.
conscious. That's super conscious.
Not, well, in my mind, there's a divine mind above all that, but okay, I'll give you that.
Mine-
Super conscious.
That's it. Super conscious is the divine mind.
I draw a line, though. I draw a line between them.
I don't see that, but I do too, but that's okay. We can just stick with the human sense of consciousness is what we aren't thinking. That's automatic.
Mm-hmm.
No,
What we're
not
aware
Unconscious,
of.
I would call that unconscious. I would call that habits. I'd call that patterns. So it's like, yes, I call that too.
Okay.
Craig says no, though. This is great. Craig says no.
Consciousness is not human.
I disagree. We have a human sense of things. You might want to call that self-conscious, how we perceive our world. I think there's levels of consciousness within the human. And then there's divine.
It's not the same as the consciousness that I'm talking about. They're two different animals.
Well, I have to live on this plane of existence, so I gotta use it.
But humans are part of consciousness. How about we bring in the language of parts?
Yeah, but the problem is the word consciousness.
Is that the problem?
We're using the same, yes, we're using the same word for two different spectrums that are related, but they're not the same.
How is that a problem?
Well, it's a problem because the spectrum isn't the same.
I would agree. That's confusing.
Yeah, it's confusing. Like, okay, so when you get knocked out, they say, oh, okay, he's lost consciousness.
The English language, it's the word for
right, and that's not the consciousness I'm talking about.
I think everybody, well, sorry, but anyway, I'm speaking on behalf of people, sorry. I certainly did not confuse that, Craig.
All right. So consciousness was your word that we were going to use, and we can't even agree on that, it sounds as. Like, what could we agree on? What common ground? Like, I'm living right now, talking with each of you right now. We could use that as a description, or we could even narrow it to even a smaller transaction. Do we even need to? Let me see.
I can agree that dress is blue and black.
That's a great metaphor. We've all used that one, right? That was here. So it's blue and black. My dominant pattern I see in that is gold and white. Here's the common ground, Jenny. We know it's a dress.
Yes.
Agreed.
So if I draw a boundary on this earth, as I am grounded right now in this earth, as we live life with our old patterns, new patterns is that we're stepping into, and we live inside of a society that lives inside of basically hate for the most part, fear and all of that, and inside of a transition from where we were to where we need to be to survive and thrive. We say, how do we have a better experience? I say that is what we're talking about here. And if we're talking about anything else, then I don't need to continue the conversation. That is my passion. That is my purpose. And for me to discover that took me some time to create it, to find it, to not do what the world is doing today. And what I'm saying is, here's a way to do it. That's all that it is. That is my truth. And I am trying to find it every day. And there's a part of me that's self-conscious that says, you can't do that because that's what everyone told me needed to be the place that we're all common connected to through our language. My unconscious are the habits that build into that I'm not even aware of. And then my super conscious is my truth. It's my heart. Those are the three things that I work with. That's me. That's my experience of it. I know I'm in harmony when I'm happy. Why? Because I said, I don't know. And I said, you know what? I won't lose. Why? Because I don't care about winning anymore. When I'm in that moment, I'm ready to work. That's what I'm building and having around me. I don't need to step into a meditation for 20 minutes and feel myself. I'm here to create. I'm here to change the world. I don't need to waste any more time. Thank you.
Well done. There was a lot of boldness and confidence in your voice.
And so where would you say that came from?
Passion.
See what bothers me. What bothers me is how long it takes to get an answer.
Chart.
Yeah, thank you. It's like the answer's there. Go with it, man.
Do you notice that you're getting better answers as you practice?
I'm asking better questions. Yes, I thank you.
Well, then you're getting better answers too, right?
Always. They just may not be everyone's known questions, which is perfect. That's mine. So what are we here to do? Let's see, what time is it? Perfect. We are at the end. Let's wrap up this hour because I am complete at 10. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you very much. Thank you,
Thank you.
Jesse.
Yeah,
This was
thanks,
very
everybody.
valuable for me.
I appreciate it.
Yeah. A lot. Okay. Have a good afternoon, guys.
Yeah, you too.
Bye,
Bye,
everyone.
everybody.
All right. Thanks, guys. Take care.